Hey there, and welcome back to another Dreamworks video. And for a long while now, people have been leaving comments and messages asking me to take a look at the latest installment in the Dreamworks Dragons franchise, Dragons: The Nine Realms. Now, I've always been a fan of How to Train Your Dragon, enjoyed the first one when I saw it, loved the second film, a little bit more mixed on the third one, but it was still fun enough. And the shows, yeah, I thought they were decent. A clear drop in visual and narrative quality, but it's not like they were terrible, just not as good compared to the films. No shame in that. And so when I initially heard of this project, I thought, this could be cool. And then I read the premise. Modern day. I feel like a massive part of the original franchise appeal is that it was a spoof of fantasy Viking culture. Not true Vikings, obviously, but fantasy Vikings. And fantasy and dragons, they just go hand in hand, don't they? You can't go wrong with such a classic matchup. But then they hit me with the modern day. Modern day? You playing? Just seems like it was doomed to fail from the get-go, but I try to remain optimistic. After all, there was a show called Dragon Booster when I was a kid that infused vague sci-fi elements with dragons, and that was pretty damn awesome. And so I was a little bit hopeful for something along those lines, but yeah, it's not what we got. I'll be honest with you, this show does kinda suck. At least, most of the time. I came into it dreading it completely, but at first, the first couple of episodes, I was like, okay, seems interesting. But then so many problems just started to rear their heads. And whilst I do think it gets a little better with each season, it doesn't remove that bad taste in your mouth that makes you question, why was this made in the first place? There's so much to dislike. But before we go there, let's just dispose of that most common defense I've seen of this show. It's for kids. And thus, it doesn't need to have a complex/compelling story or engaging characters, etc., etc. And damn it, I hate that. Bluey is a show designed for preschoolers, and it has better character development than this show's ever had. It tackles more complex themes than this show ever has. And it's more enjoyable than this show has ever been. I have no idea what the age bracket for this thing is, but I'd assume like 8 and up, 6 and up maybe. And when I was that age, the shows I loved had good characterization. They had exciting and engaging storylines. Those that didn't, they haven't stood the test of time, and they're not looked back on fondly. Avatar: The Last Airbender, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Digimon, hell, even Pokemon. Pokemon, whose protagonist has famously stayed the same age for 25 years. The argument made for kids is the defense you give a shit show that has no redeeming qualities otherwise, and yet you still want to defend them for some reason. No idea why. And this show, there's just so much to dislike. Like I said, I don't think they've used the setting well at all. They frame this in the modern day world, right? Which automatically puts you on edge. But then you think, well, there's a lot of possibilities they can go with. Wouldn't it be cool to see them infuse technology with the dragons? After all, that's what Hiccup did. He pioneered era-appropriate tech using what he had to augment himself as a dragon rider. But do they do that here? No, not really. They have an iPad, which seems to serve as an all-in-one sort of thing. A map, a tracker, an alarm system, whatever. And then they make their own saddles and body armor. And a sword. A sword. That's it. The only real tech-based stuff they do is with the company that owns and studies the fissure. And that company is kind of framed in a negative light, so I can't help but feel that there was no real point in having this be set in the modern day to begin with. And so, because they don't take advantage of the era, it just serves to actively hamper the storyline and make things seem really stupid. I mean, this is a highly advanced geological study that would surely be sponsored by whatever government this thing's set in, right? I read somewhere that it's Canada? I don't know. Regardless, they would surely, during the course of their geological studies, have noticed this immense cave structure, right? Right? Or checked the CCTV at some point and saw that their kids had dragons in the town? It is very hard to suspend that level of disbelief. But I guess it is what it is, eh? And I think I could get past that if the narrative was strong, if the characters were fun and well developed, but none of these things are true. We'll start with the story. It ain't it. Some of it is actually legit interesting, those really intermittent episodes where they stumble across hidden knowledge about the Viking characters that we know and love. Very sad that the best episodes of this new show with new characters are those that link back to the old stuff, but, it is what it is. But then these good episodes are watered down with episode after episode of generic, boring shit. Oh no, this random dragon is injured. Oh no, this dragon has escaped into a different habitat. Oh no, those pesky commercial employees almost discovered our secret dragon land. And this just repeats ad nauseum. So what, they've had like 4 seasons combining to equal 26 episodes, and almost nothing's happened at all. They've wandered around doing next to nothing. attracting the hatred of a serial killer in the making, and have met Thunder, our toothless equivalent's family. And that's really all they've done. There's nothing about the fissure, hardly anything about all the Viking artifacts whatsoever. The plot's paper thin, which is weird, because I feel like there's so much that could have been done, while still keeping those plot points where they help the dragons. And so in the end, it just feels like they're making this shit up as they go along, and they have no narrative endgame or plan at all. Oh yeah, then they find Hiccup's peg leg, etc. Or stuff like, where should Thunder's family live? Giant mushroom land? Oh yeah, I love giant mushrooms, let's do that. Oh, and Tom should have a cool lightning sword that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, we'll do that as well. Yeah, good idea. But a poor story can still be salvaged, right? Good characters can always save the day, even if the story stinks. But the problem is the characters also stink. Our protagonist Tom, who everybody calls Cullison in every second sentence, he's just Hiccup light. Less cool, less intelligent, less useful, less likable. And side note, I hate this kid. I hate him. He drew a smiley face over illustrations that were probably made by Hiccup. 1,300 years before? The book is in very good condition and is over 1,000 years old. I did a quick wiki search. That would be the best preserved book of that era in history. An era that famously has very few writings from it. And he defaces it. Dude, imagine doing that. All because you think that Hiccup misrepresented these dragons? Made them too angry? Oh, press X to doubt, son. I guarantee that Hiccup, the dragon whisperer, knew those giant dragons were friendly. So yeah, Tom kind of sucks. He's just dull and generic. Like they took Hiccup and said, well, let's make Hiccup and make him blonde and make him less good. June is just, oh my god, June. Why is a weirdo pseudoscientist practitioner being framed as the sane and reasonable member of the family? Tarot cards? Astrology? No thanks. I guarantee she's an anti-vaxxer too. Get off my screen. D'Angelo, he is just boring, so boring, much like his dragon. But at least his dragon's cute. He does nothing except whatever the plot needs him to do, and he has no character beyond, I can fix dragons despite my lack of knowledge or training. If they got the book and then he developed his skills from there, I'd get it, but otherwise, how's it possible that he's such a good dragon vet? Isn't he like 14, 15? It doesn't make much sense. And then we come to Alex, who I think is meant to be quirky and relatable, but in my eyes, she comes across as a devout contrarian. One character has a plan or an idea or a request, and she'll just be there, playing devil's advocate or hitting them with a snide comment. She's got to be the most annoying and rude of the show's characters, because beyond that, she rarely actually does anything at all. They just turned her into the resident complainer, and it's a shame because as a character, I think she has the potential to be one of the more interesting ones. And then this leads to Eugene, who the show tries to frame as the arsehole, like Snotlat was. But here, I like him the best, because at least he makes me laugh. He's over the top, and he's ridiculous. And it makes him stand out from the crowd in the best ways. Eugene, represent! The side characters? Yawn. You could replace the parents and other adults with cardboard cutouts and it wouldn't change a thing. They are plot devices and nothing more. They have absolutely no character. And then the dragons. The dragons. This should be the attraction. But Thunder is just toothless light and you know it. Wu and Wei, Plowhorn, they're fine, but they're not notable and they don't really have much character. But fine, they have cool designs. Feathers. Feathers is adorable in every conceivable way. I would die for Feathers. I would kill for Feathers. But still, no real character beyond being, I'm scared, disappear. But then Webmaster, Webmaster is based. Based like Eugene is based. They are the best pair for sure. And so, yeah, I wanted to like this show. I came into it dreading it, but I did come round to it only to find myself very disappointed. And I do think it is slowly getting better, but the show is so slow. And somehow, despite only having 26 episodes, it has copious amounts of boring filler that adds literally nothing. The characters don't excite me, the jokes are rarely good, the cringe is excessive, and the setting just feels underutilized. It's a fail in almost every respect. And yeah, it feels like it's on the level of Kung Fu Panda the Dragon Knight in terms of how crap it was. But yeah, with all that being said, that's the end of the video, and I would like to say that these have just been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What do you think of Dragons: The Nine Realms if you've seen it? Do you like it? You hate it? Somewhere in between? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know.